Hello, welcome, Steve Turner from Bring Back the Trades. We appreciate you joining us today at the virtual event for NEDAS. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Lori.
Oh, absolutely. We are so excited to be working with you and partnering with Bring Back the Trades. We feel it's such an important organization to be able to educate, and we're excited to talk more about our scholarship program. So Steve, can you tell us a little bit more about what is Bring Back the Trades?
Yes, Bring Back the Trades is a 501c3 scholarship program. That what we're doing, we're trying to raise awareness of the lack of the younger generation's youth going into the trades. There's a lot of older aged individuals in the trades that are going to be retiring soon, so we desperately need the younger generation to get into the trades. So we go around and we tell the parents and the kids that the trades are a really good job and you can make a lot of money, and just trying to bring awareness to the jobs out there.
Super important. I know that in our industry, we have, electricians, we have designers, we have, people pulling cable, and, hearing some of their stories of these, smaller companies that, have been in business for a very long time. There isn't anybody that's going to come in and take over when they want to retire. And it's challenging, especially too, they need to have an education and certifications or such. And that is a big thing, is how can I afford it? Is this really where I want to be? So I love the fact that you're pushing that. And with NEDAS and what we're trying to show, we can create a scholarship program to help and assist those that want to get into these fields. So tell me a little bit about how does it work? How does your scholarship program, or how does it work, for the most part? What do we see for you for today?
So first off is you would go to bringbackthetrades.com, and we have a full webpage of success stories of scholarships that we've given out to different individuals that have gotten it. But you go to the scholarship part of the website, and you have to fill out an essay of why you're deserving of the scholarship. And basically I just say, write your story of why you're deserving. And then once a month, 9 times a year usually, we don't give one June through September, or we give one out starting in September, excuse me. Usually it's $1,000 per scholarship. But basically just tell them why they deserve the scholarship.
Well, I'm excited here today too, because we're doing this with NEDAS and pulling in from a scholarship program. We're going to be pulling in and actually bringing certain people into it, so to speak. And we're most likely going to be aligning with you, and we're going to come, obviously there's going to be a little bit of, work that we need to do to get there. But this year, we're looking to create that scholarship program. So then, people that are interested to get into it from an education standpoint can actually do so. So we'll be having them fill out their information so that we can take it to you so we can decide. Is that how you think it's going to work?
Sounds great to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, Steve, tell me, I know you have probably met so many amazing people with your, your scholarship and your awards. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm sure you bring lots of smiles to faces, but maybe you can give us 1 or 2 examples.
Yeah, I mean, the one that comes to mind is Savannah, excuse me for looking, but Lakey. She's up in Greater Lakes region. She grew up working with her father in her garage, working on cars, and just fell in love with it. She wrote an essay. All the essays are great, but I just really fell in love with her essay. We gave her a scholarship. She graduated, and now she's a certified Toyota tech, doing what she loves. And it's great to see the stories every day of these kids really wanting to work in the trades. We also have another one, Connor Fleming, that he became an underwater diver. He went to a school in Seattle. He became certified, and believe it or not, once he became certified, he actually could write his own ticket. The jobs, underwater welder or machinist or whatever he is doing, he's doing a lot of welding, doing a lot of construction underwater. So not a lot of people go into that trade because of obviously being underwater. So he basically put his resume out there, and the competition just to be able to get him was incredible. So he could pretty much pick who he wanted to. So, I mean, it's great to see that what we're doing is paying off.
It really is. So also, I know we've talked in the past about some of the statistics that exist out there from the electrical standpoint, plumbing, so to speak. Tell us a little bit about what those stats look like.
Yeah, in New Hampshire, I think plumbing and electrical and welding, the average age is between 55 and 65 years old right now, the average worker. So what I always say, within 5 to 10 years, those individuals are going to retire. So if the younger generation doesn't get into it to take over, we're going to be in some, I know I talked to a lot of people, it's not that we're going to be in trouble, we are in trouble. I don't know what the stats are as far as how many people retire versus kids going into it, but I know it's a lot higher for the people retiring versus the kids going into it. So we desperately need for this mission to work.
Yeah, no question. And I'm very passionate about it too. I've had you on my show a few times, and it's interesting to see once that show aired and all of the visibility that created, how many people reached back out to me saying, oh my gosh, we absolutely are in agreement. It's something that we're not thinking about. But now that we're bringing and highlighting that, it is an important issue. And if we don't fill those positions, what does that mean for us as a society? So I'm curious what your thoughts are there.
Well, the first thing comes to mind is, the biggest problem is if those, say you got an electrical company with the owner 65, 70 years old, all the people working for him are 40 to 55 years old. They don't want to take over the business when the business owner wants to retire. He retires, he closes the place. All those employees have no job. So we desperately need, because in these careers, it takes 5, 10, 15, 20 years to get good at your trade enough that you could actually own the company. So we desperately need to start now to do that, because like I said, if they start retiring, it's not only the owner retiring, it's the whole company closing. It's like, down south when you're seeing all the Detroit was a big, huge automaker town. No longer now. So you just see towns just wiped out because of that. So it's going to be the same thing in plumbing, in electrical. You go to Boston. I just went to Boston Saturday, watching all the people doing all the electrical going down through the roads, and they're pulling the wires, and they're doing, the cable and the electrical for the telephones, everything. They're all pulling all the wires, and they're working Saturday and Sunday because they're behind because they don't have enough people to do the jobs.
You make an important part there for sure, because obviously in our industry the same. We're going into the buildings and we're pulling fiber cable. We're doing that as well. And with COVID and all of the challenges that we're having and we're seeing, it's very challenging to get people on that job site. And with that, when somebody gets sick and you've got a whole crew now out, you still have those deadlines that you have to make. Right. And if you're lean to begin with, which chances are you are, mm-hmm. You got to fill the positions to make sure that it's up and coming. So not only from like a small mom and pop, shop or so, it's still, these are for large construction companies as well that we're seeing these challenges, for sure.
And what I do want to say one other thing too before I forget is the trades of today are not the trades of our parents. They're not the coal miners and stuff like that. You go to a construction site today, and the people that are walking around with iPads and computers, construction and even plumbing, they have to go and be certified. I think, don't quote me, but every 4 to 6 months, heating systems change. These guys that are doing plumbing now, or electrical, or anything, have to be certified, and they have to use computers. So the kids, when I use the word trade, I try and use it in a different way, because it's not the old trade, it's the new trade. You go into a dealership today. You remember, I grew up working on cars, my hands were filthy. You go into a trade or into an auto mechanic now, he's got the iPad out, he's got the computer on the wall, they're all plugging in. It's a different, all the trades are totally different. You have to be certified. Some of them you have to go to post-secondary school to learn computers. So it's not the trade of yesterday's. It's a whole new, and it's cool. I like to say, let's make the trades cool again.
Well, yeah.
I know it's kind of quirky, but let's make it cool again so that the kids, kids love things that move, the laptops and their iPhones. If they knew that was part of their job, I think they'd a little bit be more into it.
And, again, another really great point. When I had you on one of my shows too, you were talking about how you got started.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it intriguing. So maybe you can go into a little bit of detail, because obviously it doesn't have a lot to do with what we're doing in our industry, but it's still interesting, especially like you're saying with technology and how important it is that you're bridging that gap and getting into the future of technology, because it's becoming your job. And your job specifically was really incredible. So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, so I do automobile upholstery. So what we do is we replace convertible tops, seat repairs. We do custom interiors. We do boat tops. So basically everything on the inside of the car has to come up. Back when I started in the 80s, everything basically came off with a screwdriver or a clip. Basically, you could remove each individual piece off of the car, repair it, put it on. Slowly, cars started to change where everything was molded. Then we got into the airbags. Everybody remembers when the cars first came out, the airbag was on the dashboard or in the steering wheel. Then they became in the seats and then in the door panel. So what that means now is a lot of times we have to really know what we're doing. We take the seats apart because if you do take the seat apart in a certain car and you don't know what you're doing when you put it back in, the light will stay on the dash that says airbag. You have to go back to the dealership, have it reprogrammed. But there's a severe safety thing too, because the airbag can actually go off on the bench and deploy and can do damage to you. But another thing too is door panels, stuff like that, they're all one piece now. So say it's a Pontiac, whatever. Take the door panel off. If you don't know what you're doing, the whole door panel breaks. Could be $3,000 to $4,000. So things have evolved to where you can't be the backyard mechanic and work on a car. You have to be not certified in my industry, but you really have to know what you're doing, because you can break something and it can cost a lot of money quickly. So things have changed. I've been lucky enough that I've seen it slowly over my time, so I've been able to adapt to it. But if you want to start, I started my company with $3,000 in a little bay. You could do that. Today, if you want to be a young kid to start an upholstery shop, I'm not saying you can't do it, because anything's possible. It would be extremely hard.
See, and you're stuck with a challenge. Who's going to fill your shoes once you decide to retire? So now it's forcing you perhaps not to retire anytime soon.
That's why I started Bring Back the Trades, because I woke up one day and said, bring back the trades. It just came to me, because I have one person that's been working with me 17 years and we can't keep up with the work. And I'm like, I got to do something. It's my mission to change it. With everybody else, of course.
Well, we really appreciate you doing that for sure. And, when you're talking about upholstery and we're looking at our industry, so to speak, I don't know how many, equipment manufacturers exist in the DAS industry, so to speak. And obviously it changes constantly. But, these companies that are installing and commissioning our equipment, they have to go through the certifications in order to do that. And it's costly, especially if you're trying to send, 5, 6 employees at the same time to go to these classes. So it's definitely a challenge to do it, but that's the only way that a company can design and commission with the equipment, so to speak. So that's why when we started having these conversations and why NEDAS wants to support and collaborate with Bring Back the Trades, we feel it's important because, like I said, we're trying to fix maybe a pain point and fill a loophole so we can allow industry and allow these folks to be able to continue in our industry successfully. We need to build the infrastructure the right way. And that's why it's critically important to do so, for sure. So Steve, obviously you've been doing this now. When did you start Bring Back the Trades? How long has it been?
2017, November of 2017, so call it 18, so 2 years solid.
Wow. And how many, give or take, how many awards or scholarships have you?
I think we're at 15 right now.
Okay, so you guys have been busy and you know it. And I know that you dedicate in your full-time job. So it's challenging probably to be able to do that. And that's why we want to help in our community to spread your message and make a point, because it's such a critical point to have for sure. So where do you see this now in the future for you? Are you, I don't know, are you getting out into the country? Is it just a local thing? But it sounds like it's becoming more national for you.
Well, you know, I just had a guy come in 15 minutes before this meeting that I had to cut short with him. He's a contractor that travels the world. He said he saw Bring Back the Trades out front. He's like, "What's this about?"
Really?
And, oh yes, brought him inside, and he gave me his card, and I said, "You know, I got to run," but he's just like, you know, how can I help? Everybody wants to help. Which is great, you know, but we definitely need sponsorship. You know, the biggest thing for us, I think I've discussed this a million times with you, we're having a hard time reaching the young youth to know that we've got money to give away. So our biggest problem right now is to get the essays coming towards us. Because, you know, I do the Facebook and stuff like that, but, you know, kids, you know, I got one myself. We all have kids there. Sometimes just look at it and just keep moving, and they don't really think it's, you know, towards them or will pay off for them. So, you know, we have our Facebook page and Instagram, but that's more of the older adult. I would say Instagram, but the Facebook page where we have 5,000 followers, it's mostly older people. So we're trying to get to the kids. So working really hard to do mailers to all the trade schools to, you know, give them our information. But, you know, you give it to the school, but the kids still have to know about it. So with the COVID thing going on, we used to go to schools and we would do trade fairs at the school and actually do hands-on with the kids. The kids would bring, Pella's a big sponsor us. We would show kids how to install windows. We have a machinist. I do my sewing. We would not just, I'm not a lecture guy. I don't want to lecture the kids about what's there. I want to show them. I want them to feel it and touch it and say, wow, that's cool. We have a tile guy. He brings his stuff in. He cuts tiles with the kids. We have Parma & Chenard, their heating company. They come in with their gastrometers and they show kids how gas moves through, you know, air conditioning moves through houses. They get to feel it and touch it. I want every kid, you know, my sewing machine, they didn't want to sew. I'm like, you're going to sew. And when you watch their eyes light up when they're actually sewing. So I want the kids, anybody can go into a school and lecture the kid. I want the kid to learn how to do it and just spark some interest.
Absolutely. Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean, it's important because they might not know what they want to do until they walk in and say, whoa, I can sew upholstery and I can work on, I don't know, computers. That's a pretty cool thing for sure.
And I just interrupted. I'm working with the Portsmouth High School, their CTE program. And they were doing their construction, electrical, and plumbing all in 3 different classes. And I said, you shouldn't be doing it that way. You should be doing the whole house, because a kid can be doing plumbing and not see what electrical is about, or the construction part. If they do the whole thing, they get to see all of it. And then they'll learn, well, you know, I don't like the electrical part, or I don't like the construction part, but I like this. You know, because electrical is cool. I mean, people don't realize what goes into electrical. Electrical is, it's fun. And there's a lot to it. It's not just what you were talking about earlier. It's not just a light switch. There's more to it now. But I was telling them to do a class, and I know it's harder because they're doing too many things, but they're changing it to where they're bringing multiple teachers in, and they're going to teach the whole from the studs, or excuse me, the concrete, all the way to the roof and the electrical, and the kids will be able to touch every single one of them. So I think it's better that way. They have more choices.
Wow, that's exciting. I mean, this is our industry. This is what we're talking about. And, you know, for us, for deploying technology, we're doing it at the speed of light right now. We are trying so hard in our industry to keep up with demand when it comes to, you know, spreading the 5G, so to speak, technology out there. And if we don't capture that attention at a young age, out of school, we will not be able to do what we need to do as quickly as we need to do it.
Correct.
And that's why we are 100% supporting Bring Back the Trades. We find it is such an imperative piece to being able to get what we need to have accomplished. So with that, we have so much more to come. We are excited to say that the $25 admin fee, the administration fee coming into this, we are actually donating back to Bring Back the Trade. So we're really excited to say that. Yeah. So we're excited for that. We're looking for donations and support from our industry to be able to provide, and we're going to work together to put together a scholarship program on behalf of NEDAS. And we're going to be able to find those individuals out there, those deserving individuals, so we can continue pressing on and bring back the trades. Steve Turner, thank you so much. We really appreciate you having you here at the NEDAS virtual events. We're going to actually take some time and answer some questions in the audience. So we'll have a few minutes to do so. So we will be here to answer questions.
Thank you, Laura, very much.
Thank you so much, Steve. WOVA, we're going to have some donation availability and conversation on WOVA, our app, through the NEDAS Symposium. So we'll be able to also give you some more details about what we're doing here with Bring Back the Trades. Thank you so much, Steve. We'll be back.